kids cardiac. Catch me in the muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy, we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Let's go. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps. Hand for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Stand up. Here we go, brownies. Let's go.
Cleveland! This is for you! This is for you!
Mr. Hero's turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Joining me, as always, we've got Dustin in Cleveland. Guys, if you haven't already, please download the Mr. Hero app. You can get buy one, get one offers just for signing up. You can order food through the app. Very quick and easy, convenient. Order food for the family. You can also build rewards. So we really encourage you to check out our friends over at Mr. Hero. Dustin, how are you?
Well, I love when there's multiple days of 50 degrees and 49. It's nice. Like spring has sprung, and I know there'll be another snowstorm, and it'll throw snow 3 inches, but at least there's a glimmer that the snow is gone, and I am just looking forward to the spring. It's been a horrible winter in Cleveland. I mean, you have family in the Canton area, as you know, and your dad personally is affected with his job with this crappy weather in the last month. So you probably hear about it. But yeah, you get to enjoy that wonderful Pensacola, Florida weather. Most of the time it's pleasant down there, except for when it's really muggy. But I'm just excited for the weather. We're getting into a new defensive coordinator. Finally, the smoke is cleared over Berea. We got a new defensive coordinator. Unfortunately, we'll talk about our departure. Good friend of the program, Wyatt Teller, saying goodbye to Cleveland. I feel like everybody's getting their flowers and saying goodbye. And Allie, I'm just going to say this. This is what I love about our podcast and what I hate about it. I love that we get these personal connections with these guys, get to know them on a personal level, and then they leave, and you realize this is a business. And it sucks that they leave. We've had friends of the program that we've had on, and they leave. And it's kind of melancholy, right? Like, it's like you get this relationship with these guys, you learn about their personal lives, and then they're like, yeah, it's a business decision. We don't really get to say where we go, and we're out.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It sucks. You know, you especially fan favorites, people that you really connect with. And yes, their favorite sport. It's the National Football League. It's a business, but at the end of the day, these people are people. These are human beings.
Yeah. And I just want to, like, the Tellers got the Cleveland Browns is the best way for me to describe it. They understood the fan base. They loved the fan base. They sent Christmas cards to people that wanted Christmas cards from them. I mean, what does that say about them as players and human beings, that she would physically write Christmas cards to the fans that wanted one with 2 babies? I mean, this woman has 2 babies that she has to raise. And I mean, she doesn't have time for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. They're just good human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it sucks to see them go. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Of course, if you haven't heard yet, I'm sure this intro probably caught you off guard then, that Wyatt Teller announced that he will not be returning to the Cleveland Browns, and he will be a free agent. Listen, you know, we love them, wish them absolutely the best. Dustin, you mentioned it. He kind of embodied what you want in your Cleveland Browns offensive lineman, right? He was that guy that was going to go out and get to the next level, get to the second level, and just maul a guy. Love that about him. He was a lot of fun to root for, just wishing him the best. But as you mentioned, at the end of the day, this is a business. And, you know, I think that there was some writing on the wall here that this was going to be his last season in Cleveland, just like it was with David Njoku. Both of these guys, while they're beloved fan favorites, no huge surprise that they are moving on to maybe another home. So we will talk about that and what those vacancies will look like and what we think that the Browns may do or what we think that they should do, you know, to to help fill those voids, but that one's going to leave a void. I mean, when we look at this offensive line as a whole, Dustin, going into this season, it is, man, it's tough. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 2 offensive tackles with their first 2 picks in the draft. I think that's a possibility. When you look at it now, especially knowing that Joel Bitonio is considering retirement, you don't have either tackle, essentially. I mean, we don't know the future of Jack Conklin, but he hasn't been available for most of his time recently. And then now Wyatt Teller out, and Ethan Posich has battled through injuries. Like, there are we may be looking at an entirely new offensive line next year.
Yeah, I saw a post where no team, which is crazy, before you and I were ever born, since 1970 as an NFL team had to replace possibly their entire NFL offensive line. I mean, that's crazy talk that could be the possibility of 5 people walking out the door. And thank God we have a pretty good offensive line coach coming in, because we're going to need him, right? So with that,
when we look at this coaching staff as it's currently constructed, you have not 1, not 2, multiple, north of 3 guys that have made their living on the offensive line. That is their thing. So when you're going into a draft or a free agency period where offensive line is a necessity, a dire necessity, you feel pretty good about who's leading the charge there. So we'll get into some of the prospects that I like. Maybe that'll be next week's show, with the combine coming up, you mentioned. Plenty to talk about in terms of the offensive line, but I just want to let you guys know that, this is going to look entirely different. And, that might be a good thing. We've had a great offensive line the past couple of years, really struggled last year, obviously, with injuries, so many different rotations at who was starting on this offensive line. But they struggled mightily struggled. So it's maybe for the best to go and kind of freshen up on the offensive line and maybe move some guys around. So excited to see what that looks like. But that is just without a doubt, when we look at this roster, Dustin, from top to bottom, that's the biggest question mark is offensive line, because right now you can't run out. If the Browns played tomorrow, you could not run out today or tomorrow with this current offensive line. It wouldn't work.
Well, and full disclosure, I mean, why these guys became such fan favorites going back to the 2020 playoff run, right? Why Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were so good and how we were being able to be creative on offense was because of this offensive line, right? Gave the quarterback time to throw, made scheming a little more disguisable against defenses, right? And so these guys, they've been in the trenches with us for 5 to 6 years. So we grew up rooting for these guys, right? I mean, Joel Bitonio, love him to death. Probably a future first ballot Hall of Famer for the Cleveland Browns. Like his good friend Joe Thomas, he'll be the next one, right? From the offensive line. And, I know the Browns are giving him a 3-week kind of window, so it doesn't create like a cap casualty kind of thing. But, that's going to be a tough decision for him. I mean, just like Joe Thomas has talked about on this show, man, running back when teams are not good, you got to have a lot of reason to come back. You know what I mean? And so for someone like Joel Bitonio, his body's taken a beating over the last, 13 years now?
Yeah, he's been he's the longest tenured Cleveland Brown. Let's see. He came out.
I want to say if he's coming back, it would be his 13th year, I believe.
I think you're correct. Let me just pull that up. He was drafted in 2014.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy's been through the trenches. He's seen it all, right? Like, and for if he comes back, I would assume he sees that there's a chance for the Browns to make the playoffs. That would be the only reason, based on whatever is structured. I mean,
of course, if he has any personal goals or accolades that he would like to achieve, maybe that's his driving force. And we certainly don't want to speculate on his future right here, right now. We don't have any indication one way or another. I mean, certainly with the way the roster currently looks, you wish that he'll come back, because there's one guy that you can really rely on. But otherwise, it's really kind of daunting looking at this, this next season with not knowing who is going to play what position on the offensive line. So all of that to say, just wishing the Tellers the best. They were a lot of fun to root for in Cleveland. Real quick, we want to tell you about our good friend, Crystal John Tony. You guys, if you are looking to buy or sell real estate, you need somebody that can point you in the right direction, call the best in the business, 216-215-6663, or email her at johntonysales@gmail.com. That's Crystal John Tony with eXp Realty. Of course, if you didn't hear this last week, we talked about it briefly, but also David Njoku announced that he will not be returning to the team. So there's going to be a really active free agency period, I would imagine. Andrew Berry's got his work cut out for him. We'll talk maybe next week or in the coming weeks as we approach draft and free agency, some good that we think could step in, because obviously you got to go out and get a tight end. You have Harold Fannin Jr., but you need somebody else that can come in, especially in run blocking. That is going to be crucial. Yeah. That is not something that's been consistent over the past few years. David has been great in a lot of ways, but you want to have somebody that can come in and block really well for you, especially being that Harold Fannin Jr. is just such an elite pass catcher, right? You want to make sure that somebody can come in and when you're running these heavy formations, just being able to run the ball. We know that the Browns are going to want to run the ball, figure out the run game, figure out the trenches under this offensive philosophy that they're trying to establish. We are going to kind of open the door here and start talking about the defensive coordinator hire. Of course, the Browns do hire Mike Rutenberg. Fun little nickname. They call him Rudy. So maybe that's to remember. But we can go ahead and get into it. I want to kind of do an entire encompassing overview. Before I do that, I want to talk about his philosophy, his background, what he did, obviously, prior to this. I want to talk about the coaching tree that he came from, so who influenced him and his overall philosophy. And then I also want to get into the key differences. So I want to kind of paint the picture of what's going to remain, what we think may remain the same from what we're used to with Jim Schwartz, but what some of the differences are that we may see under Mike Rutenberg. So before we get into that, though, I want to just turn it over to you. We know yesterday, the day prior, it was announced that it was down to 3. It was Corey Unlin, Mike Rutenberg, and Jason Tarver. Those were the finalists. Did it come as any surprise to you that they went in this direction? For me, yes. I thought, honestly, it was going to be Tarver or Unlin. Honestly, I thought that was the direction that they were going to go. And then when it was announced Rutenberg, I was like, well, damn. Had that one completely wrong. The other two come with defensive coordinator experience. Mike has a ton of great experience, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But did this come as a surprise that that's the direction that they went?
Yes and no. And I guess yes, with first blush based on no defensive coordinator experience, being a coordinator experience. But then no, in the sense that look at this crazy offseason of coaching carousel and people being purged left and right because there was 10 head coaches. I think based on, and you're going to get into this, his track record of who he was, and a lot of people thought that he was a good one and he would be a defensive coordinator sooner than later. I think he might have been our guy that everybody thought we were chasing on offense for the head coaching job. He might be that guy that was like the up and coming whiz guy that really hasn't gotten his opportunity. So for me, I'm excited to see what he does, right, in that sense, now that he has the opportunity. And how interesting is this? You have a guy that's never been a defensive coordinator, now a coordinator, or now a defensive coordinator, and a guy that's never been a head coach now is your head coach. It's an interesting dynamic, right? And we can get into this to another show, but you never know what you have on your staff till you get down the road. And Allie, you've probably looked at this, but I think if you go back and look at the Browns 2014 coaching staff, do you see who was on that coaching staff?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you look who was on that staff, and if that staff would have stayed together and this team found continuity and alignment to win, that was a Hall of Fame coaching staff that the Cleveland Browns literally had in the building, and nobody saw it at the time. But, man, you look 10 years later, those guys, I mean, that's the who's who of the National Football League today. And they were all on the Cleveland Browns roster.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. You had Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel. I mean, just a slew. You had Sean. Was Sean McVay on the staff? I don't think he was, actually. But no, he wasn't. But still, when you look at that coaching staff, it just goes to show that coaching trees do matter. And that's what I want to get into with Rutenberg, because who you surround yourself with, right, and who you kind of take bits and pieces from philosophically, that matters. That is a stepping stone for your career. Hey, David, I can see you in the room here. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to join, because I'd like to join. for this conversation. Rather than add you in later and say, hey, what'd you think of this hire? Let's just add you to the conversation now. So real quick, this is brought to you by our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies Nations. We are here with Larry Lorello at Huntington Field to talk about Here We Go Brownies wine and all the other amazing wines at Lorello Vineyards.
Yeah, I just want to tell all of you guys, it's harvest season right now. We just started with some of the whites, and reds will be coming in next. Stop out the winery, all the wineries out in Northeast Ohio, for to check out all the harvest and what we're doing out there. It's a really good time right now.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Here we go.
Woof, 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 woof.
All right, let's bring him on, Dr. David Ellery, to the program. Hi, David.
Oh, hey, Allie. Hi, Dustin.
David, good evening. How are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Well, it's warm. That's all I care about. Warm and sun is all I want, and we're getting more of that, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that makes for a good day for sure.
Yeah, and hey, and the Cavs are playing well too. So things are looking up right now.
Oh, we were so bored over the last week with no games and just the All-Star break because football season's over, and we're like, we want to watch basketball, especially with James Harden. So really excited to see him back in action tomorrow night.
I think the All-Star break, the way it's timed, is just so inconvenient to the sports fan, right? You've got the Super Bowl, and then like the next week you've got the All-Star break. So there's like a week and a half of no basketball, and it's like, well, what am I supposed to watch? What am I supposed to do? Of course, we've got the Olympics right now. Not complaining too much.
You're just supposed to bet on other sports and use your sports apps.
Yeah. David, I just figured it would be easier to bring you in now rather than after we have this conversation. Have you join and say, so what'd you think? So welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about Mike Rutenberg and his philosophy. I really want to kick things off first by just going through his resume. He started in 2003 as a player personnel intern with the Washington Redskins at the time, was then promoted the next year through 2005 administrative assistant to the head coach, then went to UCLA as a grad assistant from 2006 to 2008. Then went to New Mexico State, passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach from 2009 to 2012. Then he got back into the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars, assistant DBs coach, then promoted to defensive assistant, and then assistant linebackers coach. So he was with the Jags from 2013 to 2019. So that's not nothing.
Right.
Then he goes to San Francisco in 2020 as the assistant linebackers coach. Excuse me, I had that wrong.
Passing game specialist.
Yes, passing game specialist. I was reading the wrong line here. Passing game specialist in 2020 to the Jets as a linebackers coach in 21 to 24. Also not nothing. There for a hot minute. Then to Atlanta for the defensive pass game coordinator. And then currently your defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. So, Dustin, one thing that you always bring up is, how long are you somewhere? Because that matters. It really does. So when you take a look at this, he, of course, is bouncing around as he takes those steps within his career, but it's not like he's a one and done kind of guy outside of course, last year, but he took a better job to come to Cleveland. Right. So, David, let me turn it over to you. Just as we're talking, we was kind of narrowed down to these three guys. Any surprises with Rutenberg?
I don't think so. I didn't know a ton about him coming in. Just certainly like you just listed out, he's been around the game for quite some time, but not certainly with teams that we follow too closely. So I'm not familiar, but the more I learn about him, the more I just hear about him, the more I like it. You and I were talking about it before the show started. I really like the I guess the mindset that he brings and the perspective that he brings as a defensive backs kind of guy. Because if there was one weakness on this team this year, it was probably the back seven, the back four, the back five, however you want to call it. And I think definitely not seven. The linebackers were amazing. And I think he brings just a fresh look on things and can mix up the defensive scheme and approach without hopefully disrupting the chemistry that much. And so he's got some good experience. I mean, he's learned and trained under some great coaches. I mean, he's had specialists had time with Robert Saleh amongst others. And so I'm excited to see what he can do for this defense and how he can enhance it. Because I think, we know the pieces are in place, the players are there, and really all we just need is more consistent play from them, especially in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to say, a lot has not been made of this, but in 2003, when he started out just in football as a player personnel intern, I mean, that was Joe Gibbs, a Hall of Fame head coach. You know, I mean, so he got into the business and was at an early age saw, you know, greatness in the coaching field. So he's bounced around, but I mean, the fact that he's been able to stay in the league this long, I think, just in general. I mean, other than his stint at New Mexico State for 3 or 4 years, he's been in the league 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not a good coach and you're not wanted, you're not in this league for 20 years, period.
By the way, he's only 44. So you look at that, you know, I look at this hire, and I agree with you, Dustin, that this is kind of a little bit of a shot. You're taking a shot on this guy as the next kind of up and coming kind of guy, and a young defensive mind that comes from a pretty knowledgeable tree. And let's get into that. So I want to start with his philosophy, what he wants to do. You know, his core identity is, what was that sound? His core identity is going to be coverage driven. Really, David, you mentioned it, that back end controlled defense. So one thing that Jim Schwartz really liked to do was obviously get after the quarterback. He did that kind of organically with his front four. All of that, I think, is going to remain the same. There's going to be a bit of a blend, a marriage here between what that front, really the two phases of the defense, what the front's going to look like and what the back's going to look like, and kind of have a, what is that sound? Is that, David, is that you again? Is that your fan?
Oh,
That's his fan, I think.
What in God's name is that?
hang on. Let me mute myself and see if you still hear.
All right. It's all I can hear. I'm like talking about.
It might be his fan that goes off every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He needs a computer. Anyways, so the most important, philosophical thing from what he wants to do is he's a coverage first kind of defensive mind. So he's not going to be front driven like Jim Schwartz. Really, that defensive structure is going to be built around controlling the passing game, and that's going to be limiting explosive big plays. So that's really where the secondary comes in and kind of being the eraser, if you will. I think it's not going to be quite to like what we saw with Joe Woods, obviously, because that was more of a bend, don't break, but using coverage structure to really dictate quarterback decisions, confusing opposing quarterbacks really with more disguises. So Jim Schwartz, he was just an aggressive, kind of punch you in the mouth kind of guy, what he wanted to do defensively. I think you're going to get a lot of that plus a lot of disguise, some confusion, some back end things, and allowing the front to play aggressively with that framework. So coverage structure, route distribution, disguise, that's really adding that into that raw pass rush and aggressiveness that Jim Schwartz brought to the table. So I want to talk about the lineage where he comes from, his, who he's coached with. David, you mentioned it, Robert Saleh. He's got a lot of influence there. And, he spent several years on the Jets defensive staff under Saleh. When you look at the 49ers defense, what they've done under him and even the Jets defense with Saleh is always great. I mean, I've always respected Robert Saleh and what he's like to do defensively. Kind of that, he's very aggressive, but he's going to kind of confuse the hell out of you. So a lot of with Saleh, you're going to see that split safety coverage, also the limiting of explosive plays, front four pressure without a ton of heavy blitzing. That's consistent with what we saw with Jim Schwartz, and the coverage disguise. Another name that I think you may be excited to hear is the coaching influence of Pete Carroll during his time in Seattle with the Legion, if you will. You remember how terrifying that defense was.
The Legion of Boom.
Terrifying. So with that, you're going to get the same thing: coverage discipline, not a ton of reckless aggression, preventing those explosive plays, making offenses sustain long drives. So, when I say those things to you guys, and, David, you said, haven't heard that sound, so it must have been you. Just take yourself off mute here. But, if I turning it over to you now, like when we hear those names and some of the influences, sounds pretty good, right?
You're muted.
I know it's being slow. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds really good. Just knowing kind of the tree that he comes from and kind of the other experiences or the other coaches that have fallen into the same kind of category. It's very promising, very optimistic. I like the idea of, when you're in coverage, it looks like they're in zone, but then as the play develops, it's more like a man coverage. And it's a great way to kind of throw off a quarterback, especially younger quarterbacks, and then give your linemen even more of an opportunity to keep getting sacks and getting after it without maybe having to bring too much pressure and, like you said, as much aggression as necessary. So, we all remember just how amazing that Seattle defense was, and just like they were impenetrable. And so, hopefully he can bring a little bit of the same flavor to the Browns this season and for many seasons.
Yeah. And I guess for me, when you look at some of the post comments that were made, he can all three levels of defense, and he can put some more wrinkles into the defense. And that's what they liked about his high IQ. And back to your point, Allie, of all the coaches that he's been around and absorbed all of this knowledge from, I think that's going to be like not on the job training, right? Like he's been around some great coaches, so he's going to be able to come in with a stellar staff, you know what I mean, of players, and be able to just add his kind of hybrid to what he wants to do on this defense. I'm excited, just because we know this too. What you did last year isn't always going to work this year in the National Football League because it's film, it's tape that they watch it. So we don't know if Schwartz would have came back and if he had that same aggressive play, if it would have been as successful this year. We don't know that because teams watch tape and they're like, well, this is what Schwartz is going to do and this is what we're going to do. So in some ways, I think it kind of helps us now. Also, it's ironic that he comes from the Falcons, so we kind of steal one from Kevin Stefanski's staff. So it's kind of interesting in that aspect too. So it's a little odd.
Yeah. So kind of moving on here, I want to highlight some of the key points that I found that I think are going to fall in line with what the Browns currently have in place, with maybe, consistent with wide nine, consistent with what Jim Schwartz was doing, some similarities to Jim Schwartz, and then I'll provide you with some differences. So let's start with the similarities. So just going through kind of the things we already know, the things we're comfortable with. So similarity, the first one I have here is this is when I say both, Jim Schwartz and Rutenberg, both heavily rely on the defensive line to win. So neither of these guys are going to be blitz heavy by default. Both of them are really going to hope and kind of practice that the front four is going to be organic, limiting the need for those constant and consistent blitzing packages, which allows the 7 in coverage on most of those downs. So Schwartz was very aggressive in this approach. I think Rutenberg's going to do it through some hesitation, through some disguise. So you're still going to see an aggressive approach from the front four, and I think that's what so many fans want to see because our defensive line is that good. So that's one thing that I believe is going to be similar to what we already know. Next, obviously, with Jim Schwartz coming in after Joe Woods, when we remember the Joe Woods era, you remember it was bend but don't break, but then they broke plays. It was these explosive plays downfield. Then Schwartz kind of corrected that. That's going to be the same with Rutenberg. Of course, I'm sure maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, and it's just going to be a disaster. We don't know, but in theory, on paper, this is what this is going to look like. Neither of these guys in practice are going to prioritize that, or both of them are going to prioritize that explosive play prevention. That's going to be kind of a key metric for what they're trying to do defensively. So single high, that's going to probably remain relatively consistent. Corners are going to be, define leverage roles. So probably going to look a little bit differently, but that same philosophy is going to stay in place where you're trying to contain those explosive plays. Sorry if you can hear my cat. He's trying to get into the office here. Another similarity, both of these coaches do prefer that structural clarity over constant blitz chaos. And that's something that I mentioned with my first similarity here. Players executing within that structure, within the scheme. And I think we're going to still see a lot of the wide nine. So it's going to remain relatively similar in terms of what we're used to with Jim Schwartz. When I say those things to you guys, David, I'll start with you. Seriously, Jason, why did it? Oh, there's Birdie. Why didn't the Browns hire me? Could you imagine? David,
I want more of Birdie's opinion on
yeah, what do you have to say about all this?
We have a guest joining us for most of the show, it appears.
I gotta get myself.
It is a show by the fans, and we are the dog pound. Let's be honest.
Yeah, she heard that. She heard that loud and clear. So, I mean, I all those things I agree with what Allie's saying, and I hope that's what we see is more the same still, just kind of throwing in a little bit of his own flair to it. I think a lot of the if you read about kind of the hiring and what people are saying, it's gonna, for Browns fans and people watching this, it's gonna look a lot of the same. The scheme's the same, it's just the playbook's gonna change a little bit. And so they're still gonna live within, like you said, they're still gonna play a lot of wide nine, they're still gonna do what they've been doing, but he's just gonna bring a little different approach to it, a little bit different plays. And I think that's going to suit this team very well because we already know this defense is established and you don't need to change much to make it better. Don't fix it if it ain't broke, as they say. So, I mean, I know there's a lack of experience in terms of like the actual defensive coordinator position, but I think this is the one position group or the one side of the ball on this team where you can kind of sacrifice that a little bit just because there's so many good veteran players there.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, because of people like veterans like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, I mean, you've got veterans here that, I mean, back to, Todd Monken's interview or, his hire interview when he addressed the press and the media and the fans, I was chipping Myles Garrett. I was sliding to Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward and those guys. You don't have to tweak it much. You don't have to tweak it much, in my opinion. So you just have to add some wrinkles, which he will because he's going to bring his own kind of flavor to this and disguise some of those things. So I think we're not going to see huge differences, but we are going to see some differences in this defense.
Well, let's get to those differences. The biggest thing being, what's driving the defense. I mentioned Jim Schwartz. What he wanted to do is really get after the quarterback and be aggressive with the front four. What's going to drive this defense is the pass rush versus coverage. We know that Rutenberg's a secondary guy, bringing in that secondary philosophy. So that's going to be a fundamental difference, right? Jim Schwartz pass rush really drives everything. That is the core philosophy of what he wants to do defensively. With Rutenberg, that's going to be more so in the secondary. So when we look at that, more coverage disguises, confusing quarterbacks, forcing the hesitation, slower reads, kind of prolonging the plays and allowing guys like Myles Garrett, those guys to make plays outside of structure. So that's one thing that's going to be kind of a key difference. We know that, right? We know that when they hired him, he's a secondary guy. Of course, there's going to be some fundamental differences, that being one of them. Another being, I mentioned aggression on the defensive line. Maybe that will look a little bit differently. What Jim Schwartz wanted to do, of course, wide 9, that widens the defensive ends, really creates some aggressive angles, if you will, allows Myles Garrett to do what Myles Garrett does and create some very disruptive plays. We love that. I think there's going to be a little bit, probably some more controlled aggression, right, with Rutenberg.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's a bad thing. I think it's going to be slightly different than what we're used to. But I think like what Todd Monken said in his press availability, he's going, even though he's an air raid guy kind of by nature, he's going to be a players over plays kind of coach. And I think you're probably going to have a similar thing with Rutenberg here, where he comes in and says, yeah, this is what I've done, philosophically in my career. But if we've got the personnel to do X, Y, and Z, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. So controlled aggression, they're still going to attack. They're still going to do all of those things, but might just look a little bit different. And then some coverage structures. I think that's going to look different in the secondary, of course. Jim Schwartz, because they were really getting after the quarterback in an aggressive manner, they were pretty heavy cover 1, even cover 3. They had some single high. I think we're going to see some of that still, probably a lot of that, but some coverage disguises, the rotating safeties, which brings me to my point. And I saw a comment here. I think Angel mentioned it, that, it's going to be a pretty nickel dominant. We're going to see a lot of that. So my question is, and I firmly believe that they're going to bring somebody in that's not currently on this roster to fill that role. But if we had to dedicate that role to somebody right here, right now, who would that be? I mean, Dustin, who comes to mind first that could kind of fit into that role? I've got one in my head where I'm like, I think he's got the versatility to do that. But, to turn it over to you, who do you think that could be?
For heavy nickel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are they going to kind of assign to be the nickel?
I mean,
if they had to, right? Obviously we're not the coach, so. But
yeah,
the way the roster is currently constructed, who would you go with?
I mean, if Martin Emerson's healthy, maybe, or maybe someone like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's if he's available and healthy, that interests me.
Right.
Of course, right? You've got to have a certain body type to do that.
But we have 9 picks. To your point, he may not be on this roster, right?
I don't think he's on this roster. I mean, David, what's your thought here? We know that this is going to be something that they're going to be pretty aggressive in. They're a nickel dominant team. I think that's what they're going to want to be. You could talk me into Grant Delpit, right? Like he could fill that role in some ways.
Yeah. But I just say Martin probably has more of the size.
Yeah, he's not currently here. I don't think. David, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, if we're looking internally, I like Grant Delpit in that role. he's been a great asset, and he really kind of, I don't want to say broke out, but really shined last season and kind of showed like what kind of support player he can be, both in the run and pass game. So internally, I like Grant Delpit there. I know we kind of talked about it off screen too. Like, could Ronnie Hickman fill that role? But I don't know if he's really that much of a good run support guy. And we saw him at Ohio State, and like he was a great role player, but I just don't know if he would fit that full time. Otherwise, the obvious answer, which is not going to happen unless they somehow trade up, is Caleb Downs. I mean, Caleb Downs is that safety. He is that guy who will do it all. He'll do everything. He never comes off the field. 50% of the time you want him supporting the run, 50% of the time you want him in coverage, and 50% of the time you want him, I don't know, just spying the quarterback. Like, the man does it all. And I think that would be a pipe dream, but it's just not going to happen based on where he's projected to go in this draft. And so looking around the league, I mean, some free safety options that I think would also kind of be interesting. And we can get into this more later, but you brought it up now. I mean, a couple options I think that I would be intrigued by would be Alohi Gilman out of Baltimore. He's going to be a free agent coming up. And he's obviously learned from one of the best in Kyle Hamilton, and he kind of has a similar body type and similar role. A couple others that are going to be available would be like Jabril Peppers or Kyle Duggar, even Reed Blankenship.
So Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think any of those guys are someone I would like to see the Browns at least consider or pursue, but a lot of it depends on just how they want to play this draft and what they're going to do after that when it comes to free agency.
Yeah. And I was going to say a quick shout out to Ronnie Hickman. Thoughts and prayers are with him. Obviously, we saw the media that came out, unfortunately, to the incident in New York outside a hotel. So I know he got released from the hospital. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Ronnie Hickman. And unfortunately, what happened in that unfortunate incident, being attacked in New York.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. So just taking it back to the defense, I mean, that's pretty much it. You're going to see a lot of the same things that you're used to seeing with this defense and with the personnel. I would just expect to see, more out of the defensive backfield. And sign me up for that. That is one thing that when we looked at Jim Schwartz, what he did defensively over the past few years, I loved his aggressive nature, sometimes a little too aggressive, right? But other times I was like, man, I wish we would do a little bit more. I wish that there were more disguises or, just a little bit more creativity in the secondary. And part of that being that there maybe wasn't the personnel or there were injuries sustained and that just wasn't the reality of the situation. So I'm eager to see that. And I do also want to highlight this comment, if I can find it, talking about his intelligence. Yes, but he's also just done a damn good job at coaching up his group of guys. And I think that goes to show something. I forget who said it. I don't remember who said it, but said that Mike Rutenberg is one of the best teachers of the game that he's ever coached with. Saw on Twitter that there was a kind of a fun exchange with former Browns defensive coordinator Greg Williams, which brings me to this next point. He's kind of the creator of this defense, of what Mike Rutenberg wants to do. So that should give you guys some excitement, right? When the Browns moved off from Greg Williams, Dustin, do you remember? It was kind of a similar feeling where everybody was like, well, why didn't they just elevate him to be the permanent head coach? Just like sports. It's like we see some, success defensively. We want to cling to whoever that is. And the most recent iteration of that being Jim Schwartz. Greg Williams was a wonderful coach and speaks very highly, both him and his son, Blake, speak very highly of Coach Rutenberg. So I'll take their word. I trust them. I respect them.
And I'll respect a guy that has a Super Bowl ring as being a defensive coordinator. And I'll also respect a guy that Browns as a head.
Crazy. All right.
It's wild, right? That is wild. Wow.
Dustin, real quick, why don't you tell our listeners about our good friends over at Primetime?
Yeah, guys, Primetime Sports, they are bringing it again this weekend. So come join us. We're going to be down there at Primetime Sports this weekend. And speaking of the Cavaliers, Allie, that's right. Mark Price, Ron Harper, and Kendrick Perkins all going to be in-house down in Canton, Ohio at Belden Village. Come check them out. 7 to 8 p.m. is Kendrick Perkins. Ron Harper is 12 to 1. And Mark Price is 2:30 to 3:30. So come down to the Belden Village Mall and check out those awesome former Cavalier players.
There you go. There you have. That's pretty cool. Guys, if you're wondering what you should have for lunch or dinner, head on over to City Barbecue. They're the best in the business. They can do it right? With the award-winning sauces, sides, meats. They can also cater your event. So if you've got something coming up, whether a corporate event or maybe a shower or something like that, they can cater it and just get you set up nicely. So please be sure to check out our friends over at City Barbecue. And also, just real quick, why don't you, if you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen this season, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, below from ballparks, backyards, and just everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, it's loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now.
And by the way, now 20% off in forever, 20% off if you use the code Brownies, 20% off your entire order online at stadiummustard.com. So who doesn't want 20% off? That's a pretty big discount. So use the code Brownies.
Nice. So. I love a bargain. That's awesome. All right. Anything else here before we move off of the new defensive coordinator, guys?
No, for me, I'm excited. Like I said, if you can, sometimes the Browns can get lucky just because, just by who they pick and they don't know. But I just wanted to mention this to you really quick, Allie. Kyle Shanahan was on that staff. Jim O'Neill. This is 2014 Browns. Mike McDaniel, Andy Mueller, Anthony Weaver, Aaron Glenn, Mike LaFleur. Look at that staff in 2014. That's crazy.
That's insane. So yeah, that is actually crazy. Man, Cleveland, what are we doing? And then to think, when you think of that, you look back to 2014, you're like, okay, cool. Like at some point they had to have found success. If they could identify all of those guys that you mentioned to be up and coming head coaches or coordinators in the league, surely they would have found success by now. And it's like, well, actually they didn't. They went with Hugh Jackson and Freddie Kitchens after that. So it's just crazy, right?
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, we were rotating quarterbacks out like you do dinner and lunch at your house. Like that was the other problem. There was no stability at quarterback at that point. You didn't know from year to year. I mean, think about if we could have had Allie. I want to tell you this was something quite crazy. So obviously the Browns came back in '99 as a brand new franchise, right? The Browns got basically a raw deal, and what I mean by that is the Jaguars and the Houston Texans, when they came into the league, they got a real draft and real players and a real way to come back in the league. Mm-hmm. The Browns had what was called a supplemental draft, where basically every team said, hey, these are the guys that our worst players. If you want to pick from them, you can take them and put them on your roster. The Browns obviously took Tim Couch that year and Ty Detmer as a quarterback. Do you know what quarterback was on that 99 supplemental draft that the Browns, if they would have taken, probably would have beat out Tim Couch?
No, I don't. I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Oh boy. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't watching football then, so that time period is a little difficult for me, but I don't know.
Kurt Warner.
God bless America. Isn't that something?
The greatest show on turf. We had Kurt Warner in the supplemental draft that we could have just brought in.
Love that for us. All right. So moving on from that. Little game we're going to play here, and we're just going to go. David, what on God's green earth is that? That is crazy.
Well, I don't understand is I have my AirPods in, so like there's nothing next to my head making that noise to capture it.
It might just be a reverb or something from your yeah.
I don't know. That is absolutely crazy. So just unmute yourself when you're ready to talk, I guess. All right, we're going to play a little game, and we're just going to go, in order here. It's not like a draft or anything. I have a random team generator pulled up on my phone, so I will show it to you here in a moment. But I've got that pulled up on my phone, and we are going to just build we're going to build a team. Each of us is going to have a team. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see this. Stand by. Hang on. Share screen. There it is. All right. So, can you see my screen?
It's coming in now.
Now. Perfect. So as you can see here, we've each got a name, Allie, David, and Dustin. And we're going to draft quarterback, running back, true wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, tight end, offensive line, defense as a whole, and then you can add a defensive player, and then a head coach. So we're just going to go in order. and I'll pick one of you randomly to start.
Now, is this all time or 2026 draft?
This is current. So current players for these teams. Now, we understand that some people we already know, like there's free agents. We know that David Njoku's not returning. We're going to act as if they are because free agency hasn't opened up yet. So we're just going to say whoever is currently on the roster, you are able to take those players. So for example, if I land on the Kansas City Chiefs, I am free to take Patrick Mahomes or whatever.
Oh, so we don't know who we're gonna. It's gonna be like a spin game.
I'm gonna do a random
generator. A randomizer. I got you. Okay, cool.
So then you'll tell me, and you don't have to go in order. You can pick whatever.
Right. I just gotta pick somebody in my spot to work.
And then we'll say, okay, at the end, who has the best team. So this could go any which way because it's totally random. But Dustin, we'll start with you, and I will fill it in here so you guys can see. Dustin, we will start with you. Your team is the Baltimore Ravens.
That's easy for me. That's going to be easy. Lamar Jackson. I see David shaking his head. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. All right.
David likes to win just like you. Look at that. 2 competitive people. He's already shaking his head. I love it.
All right. I'll go next. And I am generating. I get the Buffalo Bills. So challenge.
I'll start.
David, you are up, and you get the Green Bay Packers.
Not bad.
Oh, that is interesting. Give me Josh Jacobs.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I think in that one, you really consider either Josh Jacobs. Their receiving situation's a little funky. They don't have a true wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. It's kind of by committee. You could consider our friend Micah Parsons there, but I like Josh Jacobs here. Dustin, you are up again. You get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Give me Evans, wide receiver.
We're going to put him at wide receiver 1 because that's where he's at. And again, guys, this is true wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. So if you get another receiver, you have to go with the second on the depth chart. So I am up here. I get the gross Tennessee Titans. Honestly, I don't love this. So I might just go with Robert Saleh here as my head coach. I think he's a good coach. I just talked him up. He's got a great defensive philosophy, so I'll go with him. Okay. David, you get the New England Patriots.
Okay. Give me. Oh, okay. This is tricky. Go a couple ways here. Gosh, I don't know if I want to go Jake May here. I don't think I do.
If I were you, honestly, maybe hold out on quarterback since we already have quarterbacks.
Yep, I might go Mike Vrabel here.
Okay,
well, that's
definitely a great pick.
That's a solid pick there.
All right, Dustin, you are up again. You get the Detroit Lions.
Well, you know where I'm going. Give me the guy that likes to buy it off kneecaps. Give me Dan Campbell.
Oh, interesting pick there.
Jason's right. We don't have kicker.
What'd you say?
Jason's right. We don't have a kicker on here.
Oh shoot, we don't. That's all right. We'll do that next time. All right, I am up. I get the Minnesota Vikings. So I will be taking with my wide receiver 1, Justin Jefferson. I'm happy with that. David, you are up, and you get the Cleveland Browns.
Give me Miles.
Yeah, that's the only answer here, right?
Yep.
So I'm trying to read. So Allie, I'm trying to read here because it's kind of hard for me to read. So we got quarterback 1, 2, 3, wide receiver, defensive end, right?
No, you've got quarterback, running back, wide receiver 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Tight end, offensive line. That's the entire unit. So you're not just picking a player; you're picking the entire unit.
Okay.
Defense, also the entire unit. Defensive. So you could say, hey, I'm taking the Packers defense, but I'm going to take Myles Garrett and add him to that. And then head coach.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You are up with the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, give me the Seattle Seahawks defense.
All right. I like it. I like that. All right. Allie is up. And who does she get other than the Tennessee Titans again? No.
I love this game. You
can't escape them.
I can't escape the Titans. Gross. I mean, they don't have a bad defense. with Salah. I mean, I think that's going to be decent. Man, their offensive line, I don't know a ton about their offensive line. They had Bill Callahan last year.
I like how Allie's talking herself into how the Tennessee Titans can be good.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better than last year. I'll go with the Titans defense. It's not my favorite pick, but it's unfortunately what I have to do. David, you get the New York Jets. Sorry about that.
Oh, man. Okay. So that I don't know if that might be worse than getting the Titans, to be honest with you.
Fair.
I'm gonna go with give me Garrett. I'll take Garrett wide receiver 1.
All right. Garrett.
That's at 2.
Oh, sorry about that. Let's
That's
fix that. Thank you. Garrett Wilson. All right. Dustin, you are up. Jacksonville Jaguars.
I have Mike Evans. What positions do I have left? I have wide receiver 2, 3, right?
Yeah. At wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3.
I don't even know who the wide receiver 2 is.
So they probably have Brian Thomas Jr. as their wide receiver 1, so that leaves you with Jacoby Myers, probably wide receiver 2.
Parker Washington at 3.
Parker Washington 3. Brenton Strange.
Give me Jacoby Myers for my wide receiver 2.
All right. Jacoby Myers. If I can type. All right, I'm up. I get the Los Angeles Chargers. Honestly, I might go with Derwin James as my defensive player, adding him to the Titans. I think I could probably do better, but I don't. I mean, who's their wide receiver 2? Keenan Allen? Actually, I'm going to do that because Ladd McConkey is probably considered their wide receiver 1. So let me do Keenan Allen. Oops.
Yeah, you'd probably go Keenan or Quentin Johnston, whatever you want to go with here.
Right, I'll go with Keenan.
Yeah.
David, you get the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. Give me, you know what?
Great value.
Tyler Warren here.
Oh yeah, all right, I like it. That's pretty good. Dustin, you are up, and you also get the Los Angeles Chargers.
Jeez. All right, so I got a quarterback, wide receiver 1, 2. I got my defense. What am I left with? Tight end, wide receiver 3.
Yep. You need a running back, wide receiver 3, tight end, offensive line, and defensive player.
Who's the running back in San Diego?
It is Omarion Hampton.
I don't like that. Give me who's their tight end?
Rodney Gadsden.
Yeah, Rodney Gadsden.
Okay, give me him.
Okay. I mean, it's not a bad pick. I mean, he had a great rookie year. Gadsden. I forgot to put his first name in here. I'm sorry. Rodney Gadsden. Oops, it autocorrected to orange. That's good. All right, I get the Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking Bijan.
Oh, great.
Easy.
David, you are up. You get the New England Patriots.
Patriots again.
Yeah, you might be forced to. Okay. No, you've got an obvious one here.
Let's see. I mean, probably their defense.
Yeah.
Truthfully, they had a great defense this season, so
yeah.
I like that.
Okay. I think that's the move. Dustin, you are up with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh my goodness. So I have a tight end, wide receiver 3, right?
Yep. You need a running back, a wide receiver 3, an offensive line, and a defensive player.
You know what? Give me the offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. All right, cool. I am up. I get the New Orleans Saints. I don't love that. I'll take their offensive line. I'm fine with that. I think it's serviceable. I can live there.
That's why I took the Steelers. They're serviceable. They kept Aaron Rodgers upright, you know.
You tell me you don't want wide receiver 3 Mason Tipton? Come on now.
All right, David, you are up with the Detroit Lions. I almost accidentally said the Detroit Patriots.
Detroit Patriots.
You're getting the Patriots.
Ooh. Okay. This is interesting. There's a couple good options here. I know, because I mean, I think Jared's a very solid pick, but I mean, I could go Jamison Williams here at wide receiver 2.
Yep.
Offensive line too. I mean, I know last year was a bit of a downy for them, but they have been good 2 years ago. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Allie's liking JMO here. I agree with her. I think I'm gonna go Jameson Williams, wide
That's
receiver
great
2.
value. I mean, truly, there's only a handful of teams that have a better wide receiver 2 than
For
Jameson
sure.
Williams.
Yep.
So JMO Williams. I think that's a really good pick. All right, Dustin, you are up, and you get the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, well, who do I got left? What do I got left?
Can you see it on the screen? It's running back.
What?
receiver
I have
three,
wide receiver 3 and what else?
offense, or I'm sorry, you have running back, wide receiver 3, defensive player.
Wide receiver 3. Myles Garrett's gone, right? He's gone.
I got him.
Yeah. Give me Quinshon Judkins. Let's go.
Quinshon. All right, I like it. Okay, I am up. I need a wide receiver 3, a tight end, and a defensive player, and I get the New England Patriots. So I'll take him here. I mean, who do they have? Who's their third receiver on their depth chart? It's going to be
Mac Hollins or Keishan Booty.
Sean Booty, Mac Hollins. I think that's not bad, right?
What
So
about-
on their, I'm looking at their depth chart. They list it as Mac Hollins. So I'll take Mac
You can
Hollins.
go consider Christian Gonzalez here too.
Oh shoot, you're right. Oh my God, that is what I'm gonna do. That is absolutely what I'm gonna do. Thank you for that.
I got you.
Solid. All right, who's up now? David, you're up.
Yep.
You get the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, perfect. Don't
Don't take their offensive line. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, they have an obviously clear wide receiver 1, and then I guess 2 with Cedric Tillman. So I'm gonna take Isaiah Bond at my wide receiver 3.
No,
I don't hate it.
No, I was going to say, I was thinking that with wide receiver 3, if my running back, if I could get lucky. But that's not a bad pick there, David.
Definitely not. All right, Dustin, you're up, and you get the Seattle Seahawks.
All right. So what do I have left?
Wide receiver 3 and defensive player. So, I mean, when you're looking at value here, wide receiver 3, Rashid Shaheed, that's not a bad situation. Or, you can obviously a slew of great defensive players for them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of I'm trying to think of who stands out on the Seahawks defense.
I mean, Devin Witherspoon.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Oh, I'll take my Boise State guy, DeMarcus Lawrence. There we go. Done.
All right.
Let's go. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Okay. And I get the Seattle Seahawks.
Jason's right. He already has the Seattle defense.
Oh my gosh, Dustin.
Oh, I thought I have to take a player from a different SB.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I didn't know that. I didn't
No,
know.
I just realized that. Thank you, Jason.
All right, so looks like you are. Let's
Rashid Shaheed.
receiver. That's Rashid Shaheed.
That's a good pick.
Shaheed. All right. I also got the Seattle Seahawks. So, so I can't take their receiver 3 because you have them. So I'm taking AJ Barner, it looks like.
Yeah, you could drop to Torrey Horton if you wanted to.
No, thank you. I'm going to take AJ Barner. I don't hate that. I like AJ Barner. I think he's
he had a good year.
A good tight end. All right, David, you get the what are they called?
The Bears. The
Cool.
Bears.
I'll take the line. I like that.
Oh, I think that's a good one.
Yep. Solid.
Okay. And Dustin, your defensive player is coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Take your pick.
I guess give me it's escaping me, the defensive end, TJ Watt.
Okay. And I am taking Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver 3 from the Chargers. Quentin.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You are left with quarterback, David. That's kind of a scary place.
No, that is. But I tell you what, that is rolling some dice right there, David. All the way to the end.
All right, your quarterback is
Cleveland Browns.
not
I'm
bad.
okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you
Not
should. That's a lucky roll right there. Yeah, you
All
could
right,
have.
so before we wrap up and everybody gets to vote on who has the best team, we are all allowed one respin. So we'll start with Dustin. I will respin for you, and you can decide if you want to change anything. You can use it for any player on your board, okay? So your one respin is the Miami Dolphins. You can take any player or any position, defense or offensive line from the Dolphins if you'd like to swap it out. Or you don't have to.
So I'm gonna. And you said we have to go. So I'm gonna. I think you said I could do this. I'm gonna swap out Evans and give me Tyreek Hill.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Totally.
Yep. Tyreek
I like
Hill.
that. That's a good call.
Yeah. All right. And my respin is the Los Angeles Rams. What do I want to do here? I'm going to probably – who is listed as their wide receiver 2? Is it
Devontae?
So I'm probably going to take Devontae over Keenan Allen, right? Is that what I want to do? Or do I want their defense over the Titans? That's kind of enticing, The Rams defense over the Titans or Devontae Adams. I mean, when we look at my receiving core, it's not bad. I'm going to do that. I'm taking the Rams defense.
Yeah, I think Rams defense is better value.
All right. And David, you get the Eagles.
Woo!
That's a wild.
Oh, boy. What do I want to do here? I'm good at wide receiver, I think. Who's there? Who do they have listed at wide receiver?
You could even trade out quarterback technically for that one. That's
John Dotson.
Saquon
For Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
I think I'll take Jordan Love over Jalen. I like that. I'm gonna go Saquon over Josh Jacobs.
That's the move. I that's what I would do. I think Saquon.
I like the wild card spin. That's fun.
You don't have to take it, but you can. All right, there you have it. Actually, sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing my screen, but I'll read you our teams. Feel free to vote in the comments. Dustin's team: Lamar Jackson, Quinshaw Jugheads, Tyreek Hill, Jacoby Myers, Rashid Shaheed, Arondé Gadsden. The Steelers offensive line, the Seahawks defense, defensive player thrown in there is TJ Watt, and your head coach is Dan Campbell. David, your quarterback, Jordan Love, Saquon Barkley, Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Isaiah Bond, Tyler Warren. Bears offensive line, Patriots defense. Your defensive player is Myles Garrett, and your head coach is Mike Vrabel. And Allie, you get Josh Allen, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Johnston, AJ Barner, Saints offensive line, Rams defense, Christian Gonzalez, and Robert Saleh. So feel free.
Oh, jeez.
Those all sound like playoff teams. I mean, those are play. I mean, we that was fun. Like I agree, Jason. That was a fun game.
We can keep it up. Before we wrap up, guys, if you are looking for your official Here We Go Brownies podcast hat, t-shirt, sweatshirt, you can get it at We Bleed Ohio, or some, of course, basketball, football, baseball apparel. They'll get your designs right over at We Bleed Ohio. Guys, any closing thoughts as we wrap up on a beautiful Wednesday evening?
No, it's going to be interesting. The combine will be coming up. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the players the Browns will be looking at possibly for that combine. And before you know it, free agency is going to be right around the corner.
Yeah. Crazy to think. But other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.